Another summer come, another summer gone. But the best summers are the ones that live on forever. Of dust and bone. Do I hear Mano Anastasio's muddy mystic drawl coming over brainwaves fuzzy as AM radio nights long time ago, when we slept outdoors in the humming summer, drinking from quart bottles of soda pop, sharing a bag of chips, and strumming broom guitars to Band on the Run with our transistor radios tuned in to X-Rock 80, Juarez, Mexico, or KOMA, Oklahoma. Seventh grade crushes and teasing howls in the mooing cow dusk and hopping toad yards lit in gold and orange. Adobe dust on my brow and burning, yearning, learning love, exploding from my heart like bottle rockets on the starry spangled 4th of July. Where are you laying, little dipper dreamers who once stirred on their grandma's homemade blankets in the dewy breath of early morn? When grandfathers with shovels slung across their shoulders headed for the ditch banks to open up their gates. Oh, July apple suckling summer with a sweet and bitter taste of wisdom's tears trickling down your pink mountain slopes. I see you, I feel you, I hear you dying to be born again. Oh, fathers' graves with splintered crosses, swaying skyline bare under a November moon, whose resurrection burneth through the flaming hearts of your displaced sons, and from snowflake-whiskered men mumbling broken mouth, forgotten ancient prayer of dust and bone, in the arroyo, where rainbow haloed angels crowned with a wreath of wild country flowers blow their groggy horns. I hear you, yes, I hear you, Mano Anastasio. I hear you calling like a lone crow in the pines. Wah! 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 Someone told me years ago, you always got to do the crow call 3 times.
That's right.
Good luck. So thank you, Somos and Jan. It's like being home again.
No.
My literary home in Taos. Every time I'm up here, I always tell the audience that this was my optometrist's office when I was a little kid. And then later on, it became the offices for the Taos Institute of Arts, with Susan Mihalik, and so I spent some time here then too as well, and then now through SOMOS, so I keep coming back to the same place.
And you are welcome here anytime.
All right, yeah. It feels great to be in a place where there's so many books. No matter where you look, there's a book there. So, and books are becoming like a rare commodity these days. But are they a commodity? Anyways, I've been dealing too much with acequias, and we don't use the word commodity in acequias, right, Robin? Anyway, well, thank you so much for this invitation, Laura. I'm so happy to be here and to accompany you on your little journey here into Taos. And for Phyllis, for making this connection, I'm sure it's going to be a long-lasting connection. So I'm really excited about this. And then also for friends that trekked all the way from who knows where to be here this evening, and thank you so much for being here. Usually I don't say a lot in between poems because they're kind of like meditations and prayers even, but I do want to say a little bit about this next poem. That one didn't count. That first one was just, me finding my breath. But this one is called Azucarero, and you'll see through the poem what an azucarero is, or I think you will. But it's one of those things where I hadn't written a poem in a while. And I was on spring break, and I was coming up to Dixon for a week during my spring break, and I was just like praying for a poem, praying for a poem. And after a week, guess what? I had this poem. So, Azucarero, ¿qué hay de nuevo pa la vela? I asked the young man standing behind a plexiglass shield between us at the convenience store cash register in Velarde. Oh, it's the same old, he tells me, just a different generation. At a historical marker 5 miles up the road, I stopped to take a picture of the Rio Grande. The mighty Rio Bravo del Norte still follows the carved path laid out by several million years of wind and rain and tectonic eruptions. Tucked into a hollow at the base of the marker is a Virgen de Guadalupe votive candle vase stuffed with a thin stemmed solar light and a bundle of red silk tulips. A month ago, someone from our village died in a head-on automobile accident here. Que en paz descanse nuestro primo paisano. One side of the historical marker serves as a points of interest map of the Pueblo and Indio Hispano villages, churches, and ancient ruins along the Camino Real. It is the ancient road known as El Camino de Agua because it was the water route the nuevos pobladores followed as they made their way up from Zacatecas to La Nueva Mexico. The other side marks the site as the first United States Geological Survey Training Center. Hyper Nuevo, in an elaborate swirling turquoise graffiti script, is tagged over one of the corners of the sign. It is someone's placazo and an affirmation of their presence. Just like the countless of petroglyphs throughout the valley that speak of the indigenous people's presence and history, their comings and goings, their staying behind. The cars on the highway whoosh past, folks eternally in migration and movement, and there's no slowing down. El tiempo, como Dios, se tarda, pero no se le olvida. Once as a young man, when I was hitchhiking through this canyon, I was picked up by a hippie in a beat-up Ford Econoline van. As we made our way through the winding two-lane road, he remarked about how this place was starting to feel like home. Hey man, you know, you can buy property anywhere out there, he said, crouched over the steering wheel like the Cocopelli dancer dangling from his rearview mirror. His long, bony finger pointed out towards the plateaus and mesas. I'm going to get me a few acres and build a house. I won't have electricity or water, but I'll be fine. Through his dreamer's naivete and enthusiasm, I saw how a slight change in perspective can really put a hop in a person's skip. Today, as I look across the gorge towards La Cañada de los Comanches, I can see houses beginning to sprout like clumps of grass growing in the crevasses. I wonder if one of those houses belongs to that wandering gypsy hippie dreamer. Perhaps he too is looking out across the valley, gazing down from a precipice of a mountain. Hay más tiempo que vida, my cousin.